Thank you for joining us for iConversations. The ICON program is designed to celebrate our company's top producers. Today, we have five of our amazing esteemed icons to close out 2025 for you. From Washington, we have Ryan Voigt. From California, we have Peggy Reif. From Ontario, we have Vinashki Batra. From British Columbia, we have Alex Hughes. And from Ontario, our amazing moderator is Vishal Saxena. Vishal, take it away.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you so much. Hi, Icons. My name is Vishal Saxena. I'm a real estate broker with EXP, and I joined EXP in March 2022. I'm a proud four-time Icon agent, and it is truly an honor and privilege to moderate today's Icon Conversation panel. And as Brian mentioned, this is the last Conversations for this year. So let's make this Conversations iconic and finish it with a bang. So first of all, I would like to begin by sincerely thanking all esteemed Icon panelists for their time, insight, and patience. And let's start with our questions. Okay. So first question, it's my favorite question. And wherever I go, I'm being asked how's the real estate market? How's the year? As we look back, even on 2025, it's clear that this year unfolded distinct phases, marked by shifting interest rates, evolving buyers' confidence through different phases, and changing market momentum with this. Many of us experienced a very different market in the first half of the year if we compare to the later months, offering valuable lessons about timing, adaptability, and client behavior. With that context in mind, I would like to explore how this shift played out on the ground in your local market. So, how do you describe the overall performance of the year? Did you also observe any meaningful differences between the first 6 months and the later half of 2025? And to what extent did the declining interest rate and that influence buyer confidence, transaction volume, and pricing momentum? So let's start with you, Alex. Would you like to share your experience from your market, especially like it was a very high boom market in British Columbia, I believe, where you're from?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm based in Victoria on Vancouver Island, pretty much about as far west as you can go. 2025 for us, the kind of overall theme is balanced but a picky market. When we look at the sales to active listing ratio, we felt pretty much perfectly in line with it being a balanced market, but our inventory has been significantly higher. For us, for November, we ended up with just over 3,100 listings. That was up 11% last year and up about 18% from the previous month. So there was this idea or this almost feeling from buyers that although when you look at the actual stats, we did fall in that balanced market, but because the buyers had more inventory to choose from, there's this kind of mindset that they are in a buyer's market. Obviously, and I'm sure everybody feels the same way, sub-markets in our area act very differently. The downtown core is going to act very differently from the suburbs. But if you have a home that's well priced, for us, taking an example such as Saanich, which is in the core, if you're priced at about 1.3 to 1.5 and that has a suite, it's going to be going into multiple offers. So if it's a well-priced home, there's still that demand. And we're seeing still a significant amount of activity. For us, in terms of the first 6 months versus the latter half, I'm sure everybody's very similar in this. We had a big, strong market in the spring. And then as we moved into the later fall and the winter, we had a pretty significant drop off. November, we had a 27% drop in our activity from the previous month, which is the largest drop in a 1 month period that we've seen in the last 8 years. And it's kind of interesting because it's flipped from what we saw, the previous year where we had a slow spring and then the fall really, really picked up. In terms of the declining rates for us, because we have a relatively high average price point, the benchmark house price in Victoria is just shy of 1.3. The rate drops we see have influenced a little bit, but we haven't seen those major increases that I know other markets have. For us, where we did see the biggest jumps is, I know everybody across Canada is probably feeling the condo market is really struggling right now. But November was the first time in about 16 months that we've seen an actual increase in our price, albeit it's very small. It was just shy of 1%. But we did see that increase in price, and we're noticing that obviously those introductory homes, those lower priced homes, which is our condos for us, and manufactured homes, whenever you do see these interest rate declines, that's where you start to see these first time home buyers kind of getting off the sidelines and getting into the market. And I mean, it's a good time to buy a condo right now. We've got a whole bunch of inventory, and you can get a decent discount on there. So that's where we're starting to see a bunch of that activity start to ramp up.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, absolutely. Like, totally agree with you when you mentioned that if the property is priced right, it's again, it's selling. It's definitely selling. And some of my questions further will be dedicated to this as well. And I totally agree. Like, this year was truly a roller coaster. Like, the interest rates were dropping, that was bringing us hope, and we were started believing that confidence truly is returning. But buyers were still hesitant, and we still notices that the buyers are like scared to enter into the market. And but like, the question is, did transaction volume follow optimism, or did pricing pressure reshape the landscape? So let's move on to our next panelist for that. Peggy, would you like to share your experience, especially when you're from California, which believes to be the engine for real estate?
Yeah. So I'm actually outside of the state capital in Sacramento in Northern California. We're a big destination market for those people that are moving out of higher cost areas, but still kind of wanting access to all the things that come with big cities. So we have a lot of transplants that come from Los Angeles, and especially Silicon Valley and the whole entire San Francisco Bay Area. What's interesting about our market is that we do have quite a bit of new construction communities. So our resellers are in competition with new construction. We're just kind of at a balanced market right now. Sellers are having to be priced right, positioned well, and have good condition. But average days on market is over 40 days. So not terrible, but not what we were, not what the artificial market in 2021 was. So we have also an element of what we call grandchild chasing, where people have been priced out of the Bay Area. Their kids they've come to live outside of the suburbs in Sacramento, which has, low crime, great schools, access to the Sierra Nevada mountains, and a good quality of life. And then the parents end up coming to one of our active adult communities, the over 55 golfing communities. So we get a lot of whole families transitioning together out of the Bay and into the greater Sacramento market. So still a very desirable, strong market. We're just having to get our sellers pricing to today's market and not the artificial market of 2021.
Absolutely. Like, definitely we are operating in a market which is shaped by shifting interest rates, cautious consumers, or evolving affordability challenges, and changing sentiments on not only on buyers but both on buyers and seller side. But I'm hopeful that within that uncertainty, many of us also witness movement of renewed confidence, opportunity, and strategic growth moving forward. So let's move on to you, Ryan. Can you share your experience in your local market in Washington?
Yeah, I'm in the southeastern corner of Washington, about 2.5 hours south, 2 hours south of Spokane. Our market has been overall performance. I feel like if you're active in the market as an agent, it feels fairly normal with buyers and sellers. If you're a little less active in the market, it may feel like the sky is falling. But I feel overall it's fairly balanced, and both sides are needing to work together to get the transaction completed. As far as the question of to what extent the declining interest rates, I tend to be an agent that doesn't focus on interest rates a lot, but focuses more on what the client's goal is, and focus on affordability based on what can they afford on a monthly basis, and then see what's available at that point.
Well said, Ryan. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Next, Veena. Would you like to share, Veenakshi, Petra, would you like to share your experience from Ontario's market point of view?
Sure. Looking back at 2025 in the first half of the year, I noticed a lot of hesitation from buyers, and interest rates were followed closely, and the buyers were trying to make sense of where the market is heading to. There were slow conversations, declining prices, and the decisions took more time. The second of the half of the year was a bit more hopeful. As the interest rate began to ease, buyer confidence gradually improved. But it was not still enough to bring more serious conversations and action back to the market. While transaction volume did not increase dramatically, the quality of buyers improved and the prices began to stabilize. For me, 2025 reinforced the importance of patience, education, and trust. Clients were well informed, so my role shifted towards listening, guiding, and helping them feel confident in their decisions. As a first time icon, this year taught me that long term success isn't about fast wins. It's about continuous learning, consistency, and building genuine client relationships that last beyond one transaction. 2025 reminded me that real success comes from staying curious, consistent, and always putting me the client relationship first. Um, for me, I am proud of what 2025 taught me, and I am even more excited about how these lessons will shape my real estate journey ahead of it.
Thanks, Veena. I think well said. And like my next question actually relates directly to what which every panelist have just said in some sort of way. So, in times of market change, our roles as realtor, it becomes more meaningful than ever. Like beyond transactions, we are guides, educators, and trusted advisors, helping clients navigating uncertainty with clarity, confidence, compassion, and care. Even when expectations don't align with market realities, how we communicate, educate, and lead can turn hesitation into trust and challenges into long-term relationships. So, in today's shifting market, how should realtors effectively educate and guide clients when pricing expectations are unrealistic? Like people are still living in 2021 and 2022 era. And to do that while preserving trust, confidence, and long-term relationship intact. With that thing in mind, I would like to invite our panelists to share how they approach these conversations, how they educate, guide, and inspire confidence while staying true to the market realities with with their clients. So, Alex, let's start with you. Would you like to?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're real estate professionals, right? It's our job to be the expert in this market. So whenever I'm going to a listing appointment, we got to show up prepared. We got to put in the time to understand what's going on specific to even their neighborhood, and see what's going on, because they're reading the news, they're seeing what's happening, they're seeing things are dropping, or they're not getting an actual, deep dive into their exact current neighborhood market. So really putting the effort into understanding what's happening, what are properties selling for, list to price ratio, how long are they lasting? When I'm going into a listing appointment, one of the first questions I ask is, why are they selling? What is your why? Do we have to get this sold in 30 to 45 days? Are you buying next? Are you moving out of town? And really trying to hammer down, if we don't sell in that time, what will happen? Are you needing to move for a job? The nice thing about, all this data that we now have available is we have so much more power, or so much more ability to kind of make our argument as to where we should be priced. We use Broker Bay for our agent to agent communication, along with booking showings. And in Broker Bay, it allows us to see what all the other properties are getting in our price range in terms of showings. So if we do get on the market and we see that, let's say I have a $2 million listing, and all the $2 million listings in the air are getting, an average of 5 to 6 showings a month, and we're only getting one. Well, then we know that the market is telling us, and the market is giving feedback, and that's the language that I use. I don't say, we're overpriced, because at the end of the day, we agree to it. We signed a listing contract. But I say the market is giving us feedback, and we might need to go back and readjust. Going back to the listing presentation side of things, I always try to have pre-agreed decision points. If we're not getting showings in 21 days, 28 days, whatever kind of the average days on market are, I want to have that conversation up front and say, hey, if we're not getting enough showings or an offer in 21 days, what's the price adjustment that we're going to do? So then when we get to that stage and we're at that moment, it doesn't come as a big surprise, and they don't get upset. So again, we're professionals, and we need to act like it. The other thing that I will say as well, and maybe this is a bit of a hot take, but this isn't the market, in my opinion, to be taking overpriced listings. And if they, even though you can give them the best argument for where the property should be priced, if they are very unrealistic and they want to go 20, 30% higher that we've seen, I'm at a point in my career where I'll say, what, I don't think that's going to work, and I'll pass off the listing, and I'll pass off on doing that business. And quite often what happens is, after that property expires in 90 days, I get the phone call from them and say, what, it didn't work out, and I'll end up taking that listing at the price, or now maybe it's a different price depending on how the market is active. And they see me even further as a real estate professional.
Perfect. No, I totally agree, Alex. Well shared, actually, and I'm in sync with you as well. Like whenever my clients, they approach me and they ask to do a market evaluation of a property, or they want me invite for an evaluation of their property, I always go prepared. My main intention at that time is to educate them, but to provide them sufficient data about the recent sales in last 3 to 4 months, doing the comparative market analysis of the market along with the stats of the market overall for Ontario, for the city, and for the country. And I believe if you educate them enough, they will understand, and then leave the decision on that. If this is the price I think which you will get, and this should be the listing price, and I will respect your decision. Then most of the clients, if you present data, I think data brings excitement. So when you bring the data to them, they understand, and most of them, they will go with you. Well said. Let's go our next panelist. Peggy, would you like to share your opinion on this?
Yeah, I totally agree with what was previously shared. I think coming in and being realistic, I try to get the clients focused on, I will show which homes, I'll print out the expired listings in the neighborhood, and I'll write on the top, failed to sell, because I think a lot of them don't really realize what expired means. And so when they're going through their pricing and saying, oh, well, maybe let's try, $15,000, $30,000 more. And then I'll say, okay, well, let me just show you some of the homes that have failed to sell in your market who have tried that strategy.
Absolutely.
And so then I'll just lay out the sheets with the word that I hand wrote, failed to sell, at the top over and over and over. And you can see them kind of get more realistic about their pricing. I always like to say a line that I heard from Brian Buffini years ago. I'd rather disappoint you now than let you down in 6 months when this home does not sell. And every day that we're on market, we're proving to the buyers that the house is not worth your list price. And so I know as agents, I have so much respect for the agent community. I've met some of the most generous, positive people with really caring hearts. And I find myself, even after doing this for 20 years, that when a home doesn't sell, it makes me feel really bad. And it drains my energy, calling a seller to say, to give them bad feedback or that we still don't have an offer. And so not taking those unrealistic, overpriced sellers, letting them get kicked around in the market and maybe, be the person to list it the second time. But also making sure that when you're taking on these listings, you already plan out every Friday, we're going to have a discussion on all of the feedback, all of the new competition in the market, which homes have been successful in getting pending. And so then you don't have hesitancy on behalf of yourself as an agent, where agents can tend to hide from clients, which when the communication level goes down, that does not help the situation of advancing the client to get their needs met. And so I think if I was to give advice to an agent working in this market right now, yes, definitely give them the facts, but don't hide from your client. So give them that feedback and have a regular scheduled meeting to review, hey, we didn't have any activity. There's only three things in a home. There's condition, there's style of home, there's location, and there's price. And so which one of these are we off on?
So very well said, Peggy. And I'm already taking some notes from what you both just said. I like that when you go and do the comparative market analysis, not only you show them that how much price the similar properties are being sold for, but if you show them that what properties are not being sold because they are overpriced, and show them days on the market in the listing, and also show them the average days on the market being happening in the country, I think like that will impact more on the clients. The second thing which I took note is that every Friday we should educate client about the feedbacks and what's happening in the market, what are the changes, to keep them informed, so that you won't have a sudden impact later on after 3-4 weeks, and it will be a gradual change in the client's mindset as well, and it will helpful for us being a realtor as well, if we want to suggest them a decrease in price or do some changes in the listing. Well said. Totally agree with you. Let's move on to our next panelist. Ryan, would you like to share your viewpoints on this?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to touch a little bit on, and I agree with both panelists thus far. But Alex said, as far as like finding out their reason why. So I do my listing appointments in a 2-step process, where I will go to the home. I will have them start out by giving me a tour. At that point, they'll say, "Oh, are you taking pictures because those are the listing photos?" And I'm like, "No, these are just for my own. I may do pictures or video, but I'm going to use these to put together a CMA for you based on other properties." And it helps me remember what we're looking at. And then undiscovering, what is their real reason why? So like Alex touched on, like, what is their timeline? Are they looking to buy in another area and are going to need to go under contract first? Does it need to be contingent? Are they going to move and then we're going to list? But really get their reason why and what their timeline looks like. And then I take that information back and I use, in combination with our MLS and RPR, utilize that, and then put together a Loom video, and really presenting the data with confidence. And ultimately my clients decide the price that they're going to list at. I present the data and then have a structure as to, here's what we're going to do with pricing based on showings and feedback that we're receiving.
Thanks, Ryan. And that's the beauty of this ICON conversation. I really learned a good point that when we go for evaluation, we should make videos or some pictures, so that when we are doing comparative market analysis, let's say after 2-3 days, sometimes we don't remember what were the upgrades and what kind of property, what kind of light was there in the house, and that it plays an important role in putting the value of the property. Thanks, Ryan. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, just to touch on that real quick, the beauty in doing a video and sending it to them is that you can see when they've watched it. And it also saves time in that you meet with one of the spouses, the other one's off at work, they need to talk with their parents, they need to, they can show them that video, and you can go back and see how many times they've actually watched it. And then once they've Once they have logged in and watched that report, then you can go meet with them, and it eliminates a lot of time, but also shows you can't argue with the data that has been presented, because it's living, it's real time.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you. Thanks, Ryan. Let's move on to our next panelist, Veena. Veenakshi Petra. Would you like to share your viewpoints on this?
Yes, I actually agree with all the fellow panelists. Most of the things are covered already, but I have learned from these conversations that it the education is the best thing, but not the opposition. I think clients are today, they are well informed, and but the only thing is that they are emotionally connected to their homes or the goals when the pricing expectations are unrealistic. And when it is unrealistic, I focus on listening first, understanding why they feel a certain way before introducing the data and the market context. Rather than telling clients they are wrong, I walk them through the numbers and comparable sales, explaining how the market is different from what they may have seen in the past. I have found that being honest, calm, and consistent builds so far more trust than trying to be convincing someone quickly. Guiding clients with patience and clarity has shown me that long-term success is built on trust, not on pressure.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Okay, so among all these discussions from all the panelists, let's move on to a next question. I derive one thing from all this, that the clients normally, they are very very well informed in this market, and we are operating in an era where information is no longer a scarce, it's instant, abundant, and often overwhelming. And I believe, like, at some point we all have observed that, like when we go and talk to clients, like, yeah, I know that, I know this happened, I know. So today's clients, they arrive educated, they are data driven, confident, often armed with AI tools, market portals, and real time analytics and at their fingertips. But while information has become widely accessible, wisdom, judgment, and strategy remain rare. Does this movement not diminish the realtor's role, or it elevates? Because our value are no longer in controlling the information, but in interpreting it, humanizing it, and transforming into clear. So today's question to all panelists is: with AI tools, portals, and instant data available to consumer, how do realtors clearly demonstrate and defend their value proposition today, and how they can make themselves relevant in today's world, when everything is available to consumer, to people, through AI? So let's start with our panelist, Alex.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm a big fan of AI. I
So
love the
do I.
fact that our clients. Yeah, I love the fact that our clients are getting more educated. Personally, I think it makes our job easier. A lot of the times, when you're going to a listing appointment, the sellers have a little bit more realistic expectations. Sellers always think that their home is the best in the area and it's way above everybody else. But if they're going in and they're seeing that prices maybe less than what they thought they were, it makes our job a little bit easier. I think for us, especially in real estate and realtors, AI for me, it's supplemental. It's not a replacement technology, right? If anything, it's made me so much more efficient. It's made me so much more educated. I'm taking the time to learn how I can, exploit AI to my advantage and getting me all the data, first thing in the morning. And I can, maybe jump on an Instagram live and position myself as that realtor that's very well educated in the market. The AI also only goes so far. Yes, of course, it's great to get all these stats and stuff like that. But, us as realtors, we understand the market. It changes day by day. And there's so many more nuances that AI can't talk about. Things such as, walking through a property, understanding, what sort of health we'll say that the strata is in, right? Understanding, has this strata had issues in the past with deferred maintenance? What's the orientation of the property? Are there any developments that that haven't hit the development tracker that are coming up that could affect the property price, the easements, any zoning constraints? I think as well, once we get into the actual contract side of things, yeah, I'm sure AI, it can draft up a pretty simple contract, but there's so much more into it that are going to be important to the individual person, that AI won't be able to do for us, right? Proper disclosures, conditions, timelines. And I think our value as realtors really show up when things go sideways. That's when I think our value really, really shows up to the buyers, keeping them well protected, to the sellers, keeping these deals together, having, personal connections with the realtor on the other side, being able to get this deal across the finish line. There's also, us as realtors, we've got, a large list of contractors and all of those people trustworthy in the market that we can refer out to our clients to ensure that they're getting, those ethical and honest contractors and plumbers and all of that stuff. So I think to sum everything up, I love it. I love AI. I'm on it every single day. It's making me a better agent, and I implore any new realtor to really take the time and learn how to use it to your advantage and your benefit.
Perfect. Thanks, Ryan. Let's move to our next panelist, Peggy.
Yeah, I think there's almost information overload, and I'm constantly reminded when dealing with clients how much I know and how much they know, but they don't understand, mind and brain. Somebody has their microphone on with background noise. If they can mute it, thank you. So being an expert, and they're talking again. So there you go. So being an expert in not just making sure when you're going on these listing appointments, you're calling the agents that you have relationships with that have closed the deals in the area and getting the inside baseball on, who the client was, what their motivation was at a time. And, things that are not displayed on MLS as far as, conditions of the property that are not well known, or here's why they did this. So I know when I'm going up against multiple agents on a listing appointment, the agents that didn't call ahead of time to really understand how that deal closed don't look as professional in it. I think in the buying process, we're here to guide our clients to make a great fit for their family, but also a financial choice so that they're not having to resell the home, in, a couple of years, but you've walked them through a process to make sure they're really thinking about how long this home will actually fit and buying in, a right neighborhood. I think that every agent should try to become an expert in their market by really understanding what the government is. So I served on our town's, they're run through the Chamber of Commerce it's a leadership thing. Ours was Leadership Rockland, but they're all over the United States. I'm not sure about Canada if your chambers have them. But you get to meet all of the different people within your city and all of the different things that make a city work. And so you can come in with knowing what's going on in the city and what's on the horizon that they should know about when making a choice on where to live. That's it.
Sorry, I was on mute and I was continuously speaking to myself. I apologize. Well said, Peggy. So let's move to our next panelist, Ryan.
So I think if we lead with our clients or prospective clients that we utilize the AI tools that are available to us to help leverage their experience and their properties. Just let them know what we are using to help come up with that data. Some of it's stuff they use, some of it's industry tools that have been provided to us even through EXP. But the main value proposition that I get is that AI does not have teeth and eyes. It doesn't sit in their living room. It doesn't have the ability to be sensitive, to be there during a time of loss, to help them experience the excitement of handing over the keys, to throwing a party at their house, to meeting their friends and family, to helping their referrals. So that's where I think we can utilize that data, but as agents, we're able to personalize that to enhance their experience with us and the real estate community.
Perfect. Thanks, Ryan. Veena.
Yeah, I just want to add here that I have realized that my value as a realtor is not about having more information, but it's about helping clients to make sense out of it. Um, yes, AI tool can help me with my day-to-day work, but making informed decision with my clients isn't what AI can suggest. Managing expectation or negotiate on an emotion or protecting a client during complex decisions isn't cup of AI's work. So my role is to combine the data with experience, empathy, and accountability.
Thanks, Veena. So I agree with all of the panelists, and I am also in a strong follower of AI. But like there was a time when realtors or real estate boards, they were controlling the data. Like they were having the data, and client was looking towards realtors or real estate brokers to show them the data. But in today's market, when clients are well informed, there are so many AI tools which can educate clients in minutes. So our value is no longer in controlling information. That's what I believe. But our value is in interpreting it, humanizing it, and transforming it into a clear and confident decisions. My belief is AI can give you choices, but to have the right choice, they need our help, realtors' help, to which is in favor for them for long term, because we have experience and we are data driven and we are educated in this field. So in this today's world, like which is driven by algorithms, the realtors, us, we becomes the trusted professional who blends data with experience, insight with empathy, and technology with human connection. So alone technology can't help 100%, and alone human connection can't help 100%, and combination of both can drive the clients to take the right decision in a timely manner. That's what I believe. Thank you everybody for sharing their views. Let's move on to our next question. So like every successful realtor in this panel, like all icons, they can trace their journey back to one defining influence, a mindset that shaped how they handled uncertainty, rejection, growth, and responsibility by a senior, by a mentor. Today's new realtors, they are entering in an industry that is faster, very fast paced, more transparent, and more demanding than ever before. They are not just learning a profession, they are learning how to sustain confidence, relevance, and resilience over time. So, in an environment where tools, markets, consumer expectations constantly evolving, technical skills alone are no longer enough. What truly determine long-term survival and success is mindset. So I would like to invite our panelists to share the one mindset they would insist a new realtor adopt today, drawn from your own journey, lesson learned, and realities of building a sustainable career. So the simple question is, if you were mentoring a new realtor today, what one mindset would you insist they adopt to survive long term? Let's start with you, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, kind of the mindset for myself is, and it took me a while to fully understand this, but like I said, beating a drum here. We're real estate professionals, but along with that, we are also a business. And one of the worst things that I think you can do is kind of wake up every morning and say, okay, what am I going to do today? I think if if I was a new realtor, and I wish I had this when I was at my previous brokerage, but understanding, that we're a business, and with the business, there are so many other things involved, right? Taking the time to understand, a profit and loss statement. What are your budgets? What are you able to afford? On top of that, having, sorry, my dog's barking back. Not sure if anybody can hear that. I think the mailman just showed up. But having, a set of SOPs, standard operating procedures, trying to figure out exactly where you want to go, and then work yourself backwards down to the daily activities, figuring out where do you want your leads to be? Are you really good at cold calling and door knocking? Do you want to really hammer on your sphere and your center of influence? Are you allowed to go look at expired listings? Do you want to be the social media guru, right? And once you have that idea of where you want to go, then you can really start working yourself backwards as to seeing exactly what you need to do each and every day to hit that goal. And I'm a big proponent of I track everything. Our CRM is very well organized. It tracks how many calls we make, how many calls we have to make in order to get a deal. So the more data you have on your own personal business, you can then be a lot more sharper and a lot more organized to go and get your goals and know exactly what you need to do in order to success and survive.
Perfect. Thanks, Ryan. Peggy, can we move? Can you share your viewpoint?
I think that was her dog that was just going nuts, so she might be a moment.
Oh, okay.
That was my dog going nuts. Why don't we go to? I just had a parcel delivered too.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
We all love dogs.
Okay, I can answer this. I think what we really, in real estate, I think the longer I've been in it, there are so many new tips and tricks and this and that, and you can get sideways with jumping off to the new shiny object, which I think is the biggest problem with real estate, is the new shiny object syndrome for agents. And at the bottom, the bottom line is, am I doing all of these shiny objects stuff just to prevent me picking up the phone and calling my past clients and calling my current clients? Because I think the way to win in real estate is to have relationships compounded over time. I also, this industry is emotionally taxing. It is disappointing. Many times it's hard to have the emotional fortitude to continue in this market. And so I always just have something that I say to myself in my head that, I do my best, and that Peggy Arif is always taken care of in the end. Having that work out in my life when you don't get a listing and you're like, oh my gosh, why? And this person got it over me, and they're half the agent, that I am, or whatever the story may be in your head. But that would be the key, is to keep pressing on and remember that, it's going to come, the work that you put in, if you're contacting clients and you're serving people well, that you will get rewarded over time.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Peggy. Let's move to Ryan.
Yeah, I think there's so many directions that you could go with this, but I think one thing, and I've helped a lot of, I've been in the industry 5 years, but I've been in sales for the majority of my adult working life. And so when you meet with a new prospective agent, like Alex said, they have to understand that they are in business for themselves. They're not in business for their brokerage. And how they go about doing that is going to be to surround themselves with people that, can help them along the way. So one of the most helpful things that I think that I share with, new agents and helping them with their mindset is that they've always been in sales. From the time that they were young, they learned how to get what they needed. So as a baby, you potentially cry. And you did that, unconsciously. You were trying to get what you needed. And then as you grew up, you learned how to ask your parents for things they didn't always say yes, and you learned how to persevere through a no. And oftentimes the no just means not right now. Like, you're going to be able to have a friend overnight at some point, just not today. But you learned how to persevere through that. And so it's a lot like that with real estate. It's how many conversations can you have? You may get no's. Those no's probably mean not now. And finding out how to have the right mindset to persevere through those, and ultimately end up with a database filled full of people that are, following you, liking you, doing business with you, and referring you.
Perfect. Thanks, Ryan. Veena?
Yes. If I have to mentor a new realtor today, the one mindset I would like to insist on is the long-term thinking with patience and accountability. Because this business isn't about the quick wins or overnight success. It is about showing up consistently, learning through every market, and taking full responsibility for your own growth. What I have seen is realtors focus on comparing themselves to others. And it's not about comparing, it's about building strong habits like learning the market deeply or communicating clearly or always acting in the client's best interest. There will be slow months, maybe tough conversations or moments of doubt, but those are the moments that shape professionalism and resilience. From my own journey, what makes difference is that skills can be taught, but mindset is always what keeps you the active and the business long enough to truly succeed. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing your viewpoints on training for upcoming realtors, or for training to give them tips and points so what they can learn from the already icons. Thank you so much. Let's move on to our last question for today. So, as we turn our focus towards 2026, this conversation naturally shifts from reacting market conditions to intentionally shaping our future. So, every market represented here today will evolve differently, driven by local economics, policy changes, technology, and consumer behavior. Yet, one thing remains universal: sustained success belongs to those who prepared ahead of the curve and maintaining our iconship. So 2026 is not just another year on the calendar, it's an opportunity to refine our vision, strengthen our skills, and elevate how we lead our business and serve our clients. The choices we make today in learning, adaptability, and strategy will define how confidently we step into next market cycle. So with that perspective in mind, I would like to invite our icon panelists to share their vision for 2026 about in real estate market. What is your vision for how your local market will evolve, what you project, and what specific preparation or skill enhancement strategies are you focusing on to sustain and grow your success in 2026? So let's start with Alex.
Yeah, thank you. I'm cautiously optimistic about 2026. I think we are going to have a busier market, especially in the spring. A bunch of, myself included, but a bunch of my colleagues are getting a lot of phone calls for people that are going to be wanting to list kind of February and March. So I think we're going to see a pretty large inventory jump up there. Looking into more of the micro market, I think condos for us are still going to struggle. We have a bunch of projects that are looking for completion in 2026 and are starting the pre-sales in that time as well. So I think the condos are still going to struggle. Talking to my coach and how I want to position myself, again, using AI really to our advantage here, but we really want to focus on when people think real estate, they're thinking, Alex Hughes and the North Pacific Homes Group. And how do we do that? And again, we're going to be focusing on getting content out there and not the silly content that you see, but educational content, people that are seeing this content and position ourselves as, okay, I have a question about, the different markets, Colwood or whatever municipality you're in. Alex is going to be the one that knows. Alex will be the one that will be able to refer me somebody that I need. And that's using AI to our advantage, like I said. Understanding what's going on in our market in terms of not just the prices and the stats, but what are some big news articles that are coming out? What are some big projects that are coming out? On top of that, for us, more specific to Victoria, Peggy had touched on this as well, but we're a big relocation city. That percentage of, like I said, Victoria's on Vancouver Island. That percentage of off-island buyers is getting bigger and bigger every single year. Last year, we had our biggest percentage at 33%. So a third of our buyers are now coming from off-island. So again, going back into the content side of things, being that person where people are logging into YouTube and doing Victoria real estate and having videos out there that are attracting these buyers, and it's more evergreen content that I'll get a lead at 2 a.m. when somebody has watched our YouTube video. So just taking the time to really understand what's going on, not just looking at stats, but understanding how those stats work and positioning yourself to be that expert for people to call.
Well said, Alex. Definitely, deeper specialization and market mastery rather than having surface knowledge definitely helps realtors to place them on top of other realtors as clients, in these days, talk to multiple realtors. I totally agree. Yes, next, Peggy.
Yeah, I think that the consumers are used to this new normal now. And so I think by virtue of that, they're working in the market that they're going to work in, and they're not going to prevent or, push off moves that they need to make happen. Because the number one reason why people move is to get closer to family. So creating messaging around that, to our clients for referrals is a huge push for us, knowing that there's just kind of some normalization of we're not going to have the 2021 market, so don't put your life off from getting closer to loved ones or retiring in the area that you want to retire in because of the interest rates. I mean, this market is very similar to 2019, which was a good market. So just, getting clients realizing this is your new normal and it's not a reason not to move is huge. I always think, the more that I can, have conversations, get in front of clients, just check in with them. If you've ever done ninja selling before, just calling somebody and asking them the forward questions. How's your family? How's your occupation? What are you doing for fun, recreation? And what sort of dreams? Because you'd be surprised if you start asking those questions that people do have dreams that involve real estate that you can help with. And just, I think it's Zig Ziglar who said, you help or enough people get what they want and you'll get what you want in life. And so just continuing to serve. But I think next year will be a great year, not because anything more than we're going to stay in front of clients and keep communicating, and the market needs clarity, and they don't need, silly, couple of silly reels are fine. But I like what I think Alex was saying, being of value and giving real good, real estate advice and making content around that, because people they're filled with information, but having real wisdom is important.
No, very well said, both Alex and Peggy. Definitely stronger client education and leadership, and especially in uncertain moments when client is not certain. As I mentioned, AI and information can give you many choices, but not in most of the cases, clients are uncertain what choice to go for. Over there, our role as a realtor, as a leader evolve. So where we can educate the clients that which is the right option with the which is backed by data is definitely help. And we can over there intentional use AI to enhance, not replace human expertise over to to transform that data into the information so that they can make informed decision. Definitely, that will bring clients in line or aligned with us, with realtors, and that definitely helps. Yes, thank you. Thanks for sharing. Let's move on to Ryan.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about 2026. Um, I I think our vision needs to be with all the tools that we have access to through EXP, whether that whether that be through AI and being able to reach each other, through um, referrals, across the country, across the world. Um, I I just feel strongly that if we get up and we work every day, we'll go get our fair share. There's still going to be millions of and millions of homes sold across the country. So I think we should just have that attitude that it's going to be our market. We're going to go find a way to make that happen. Specific preparation that I use is daily. I host a prospecting Zoom that agents, from all over attend. And we're just very specific about reaching out to our database. And whether that be through phone calls, handwritten cards, I know Peggy brought it up, asking the Ford questions, writing thank you notes, however we can do it to position ourselves as we care about you. And we're here to help when you're ready, or even before.
Perfect. Thanks, Ryan. Yep. So, like, if we continue enhanced, keep doing our skill enhancement, like in negotiations, communication, or financial literacy to the clients, and advise strategically to clients, like definitely we can make them to listen or to be aligned with us. And the other thing, which the one more point I would like to make is resilience and mindset, like recognizing that adaptability is now a core professional skill, and to make client adopt to what is the ground reality of the real estate is the one big thing. And any agent, any realtor who can do towards that negotiation through communication and backed up by data will have more success in 2026 than 2025. Okay, so let's move on to our next panelist for today, VV Nakshi Petra.
Yes, for me, 2026 will be about staying more disciplined, continue to learn, and building long-term relationships by consistently doing what is the best interest of my clients.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for sharing, Luna. So definitely, like realtors who will thrive in 2026 will be those who invest in themselves before the market demands it. Definitely, we have to have these continuous skill enhancement, deeper specialization with market mastery, stronger client education, resilience, and mindset. All these qualities we have to generate so that like we can survive 2026 or flourish in 2026.
Vishal, if
So,
I could just add one more thing, if possible.
sure, please
Yeah,
go ahead.
and everybody's touched on it, but for everybody out there, I think kind of one of the most important things, really, and again, we've all touched on it, but be a human being, right?
Yeah,
It's a very emotional time for both buyers and sellers, right? It's very exciting when they're buying a house, and nobody really wants to sell their house. It's stressful. I think it's very important to really, communicate with your spirit. When the transaction is done, don't forget about them, right? Call them, see how they're
absolutely.
doing, ask the questions like Peggy and Ryan had mentioned. And I think that's one of the best ways to really build a sustainable business is to not only, create that connection, but keep it going.
Absolutely, and that's what the main point is, that AI information engines, they can do so many things for the clients, but what human touch, human specialization can do to drive clients towards the right direction, no else can do it. I totally agree with you. And especially whatever our sphere of influence, because our first deals, they are coming from sphere of influence. The references are coming through sphere of influences. The most of our deals, they are coming from churning of our existence sphere of influence. So definitely we should stay in touch with our sphere of influence, and we should be asking them questions how they are doing. Like I can share with you, like every Sunday I share at least, like I have a long list and I call it list of blessings. So it keeps on increasing. The one rule is that it should not decrease, it should keeps on increasing. You should have in that list their phone numbers, their addresses, and their birth dates. So I schedule their birth dates, so that that is one way of mine to stay in touch with them. And I call five of them random every Sunday. And in this way, like I try to stay in touch. Do they like, I don't let them think that the other realtors exist. Whenever they need a realtor, somebody asks them that, do you know a good realtor, they know whom to recommend. And that's how I got most of my business. Okay, well, like now is the moment. I think we have finished. We are close to end of our iConversations. So as we come close to our final iConversation of year, it's worth pausing for a moment, not just to reflect on the markets we navigated, but on the resilience, leadership, and integrity that each of you brought to your work every single day. Like this year, it challenged us in many ways that demanded more than a skill. It demanded patience when answers were unclear, because the year was a roller coaster year. It demanded courage when decisions were difficult, because clients were looking at us. And humility when the market reminded us that growth never stops. Yet, through though every shift, one to three main constant. Our industry moves forward because of people who choose to lead, to learn, and to serve, no matter what the conditions are. So iConversations, it's never been about the number alone. It's always been about perspective, about sharing wisdom across borders, markets, and experiences, about reminding ourselves that while no two markets are the same, the values that drive success, trust, preparation, adaptability, and service, they are universal. And that's what we are sharing among ourselves, among whole brokerage. So as we step into new year, let's carry forward that what this community represents. Let us continue to elevate the standard of professionalism. Let's embrace innovation without losing the human connection that defined our work. And let us commit to growing not just stronger business, but stronger relationship and stronger leader. At the final, I would like to thank our panelists. Thank you so much for your openness, your insights, and your willingness to give back. To everybody who joined us today, thank you for being part of this journey. The conversations may pass for some time, but impact continues. We close this year not with uncertainty, but with confidence, because future of real estate is being shaped by those in this room. Until we meet again, stay inspired, stay intentional, and continue to lead with purpose. Thank you, everybody.